While you were away having croissants, okay, and other French things, I worked with a client that decided that they wanted to put an offer in on a house, and the house was priced, let's say, for purposes of the discussion, 500,000, and they drove pretty quickly up to a $700,000 offer number. I'm not talking out of school, just giving an example. And it's one of those things where they had identified a comp that would support it. Okay. But I was really uncomfortable with what they were doing. And I'm going to say the pace. It was not um, there was a bit of a feeding frenzy going on. There were multiple offers on the property, multiple people coming through. The agent was reasonably open about what was going on. But I got uncomfortable, and I told them, listen, I'll write the offer. I'll do that all day. That's what I'm paid to do. But I was uncomfortable. How do you deal with that? Or do you? Do you just
I do. I'll share another story with you about that. I always caution my buyers, don't fall in love with a house when you're viewing them. Don't fall in love. If it's meant to be, it will happen. But if you get caught up, especially in a bidding furor, and you lose that sense of where's value, it can get a little bit crazy, right? We've seen that happen before in our industry, especially over the last few years. On an investment property, I make it very, very simple for the buyer. If the property does not cash flow, meaning you do not earn a positive cash flow from it, don't buy it. Don't buy it. It's an investment property. If it doesn't make you money, what are you doing? So that makes that makes it very, very easy for me to have them walk away. With a buyer that sees themselves moving into a home, it's a little bit different. There's a little bit of emotion in there, but I always try to ground it back. I recently had a situation just yesterday where I talked to a client. They were buying a unit in a duplex condo, a side-by-side condo. They have a dog that's about 75 pounds. And in the condo docs, it's stipulated no dog over 50 pounds. And what they told me was, they said, well, the realtor says, the other unit owner will agree. It will be a handshake kind of a thing. It'll be all good. I said, that's not your issue. I said, if the other unit owner and you get into a spat, because the condo docs stipulate that you can only have a 50-pound dog, your dog's going to have to go. I said, and what's more is, if that other unit owner sells the condominium to another person, and they don't like your dog, or they don't want a dog, your dog's going to have to go. And the fact you want to put a fence up, which it does not state in the condominium documents. I said, you need to talk to the attorney. You need to tell them that you're going to want them to amend the condo docs, and that needs to be part of the contract going into it. As it turned out, they ended up walking away from the deal. They walked away.
I always worry in a case like that there's something happens with the dog, somebody gets bit, whatever, and then the dog gets weighed, and the dog shouldn't have been there in the first place, and then insurance starts to waffle on whether they're going to pay or not.
When you're buying a condominium, you have to understand you're joined at the hip with the other condominium unit association owners, right? And so you need to understand. And so it's all good until it's not good, and that's why you have bylaws and guidelines that are in there and you draft them and make sure they're okay when everybody's in a good mood. You don't want to wait till things go bad and then all of a sudden it's an issue.
Right.
So that's the little word of caution on that. But I think that's really where it gets down to, you were talking about, don't get caught up in the property. Have your team like you.
Don't fall in love with the brick.
Don't fall in love with the brick. Have people like you, have people like me, and have an attorney to protect you legally. Make sure that's the value in this thing. That's have a good team working for you that advise you to protect you.